Let's meet there on your back. We'll just spend the first few minutes as we do, just getting in touch with breath, kind of shaking loose releasing any strain, any consciously held tension that we can, just feeling the ground underneath us. Let us begin for our restorative, somatic, deep stretch practice, calming practice. And you might come to lie down and decide you more or less, you feel immediately comfortable, restful, at ease, not holding any tension, but then just take a closer look. Take a little closer look internally, especially as regards the muscles around the eyes, the jaw, the mouth, the face. When we direct attention, we tend to think about directing attention from up here in our head. So there might be just a little bit of tension across the brow, the eyebrows, or around the eye sockets themselves. Can you let even that tension go? That searching or looking from the muscles of your face. And just try to get a sense of the whole body, the whole of you from head to toe. Settling a little more into the feeling of your breath, and the feeling of your breath perhaps slowing down. Let's take just a minute here. Just feeling your eyes rest Your spine supported, your body supported in space from the ground, in space. And then just start to maybe just move your fingers, just gently wave your fingers. Right, just signal your body that you're gonna make a move, and then bring your feet up to stand on the floor, and then come over onto a side and slowly up from there. And I'm going to set aside the block and the bolster, but I'm going to keep this rolled up blanket. And we're going to use that as a little myofascial support to roll back and forth across your back. So you might also want, I think maybe both of you in particular, another folded up support that it will support your head. So your head is still a little bit elevated, but your rolled up blanket will be what you'll use to roll your rib cage and your spine back and forth over. Okay, so let's start. I think let's start. If we start with it just behind the lumbar spine, then we can start on the back. You're going to let that again just come in to support your waist, and then your head can be on your long folded blanket. And then just kind of let everything sink. So just let that come to where that feels like you're not holding anything up off the floor. And then you just turn to one side. Everything rolls to one side. And then you come back across the middle of your waist and over to the other side of your waist. Let's move there a few times. Take your time to make sure you've got what you need, set up what you need before you start moving, just so you're well supported. No hurry here at all. Right, and I've got enough support under my head that my head isn't above. I'm not creating a lot of pressure in my head, and I have plenty of room here for my neck. We want the blanket to just kind of push like a little massage here into the lower back. We'll go once or twice more across the back of the waist. And then let's come to a side to come up. And then we just want to leave the head support where it is. We can take the roll of the blanket and then just move it up a little bit. And so for this, let's start lying on your side, just because it's a little more intense. Sensation of this is a little more intense, but you want it to come, if this is my waist, I want it to come just above my waist into this lower part of my rib cage. And I'm going to start down here at the end. Here's my waist. I can just use my hand to find side ribs. and then lay the side ribs there, and then I can just lay my head back down. And then same thing here, but you're gonna roll right across the lower part of the back rib cage and over onto the other side. And you can make even your head support a little higher if you want. Add another layer or level of head support there. Might feel better just to be on an exhale when you come across. And let the inhales come when you're on your side. So be fully out of breath when you come over. Take your breaths when you're on your side, and let's do a couple of more to each side here. And then once again, we'll come up one more level. Okay, so when you next time you get to a side and you can come up, let's move yourself or your rolled up blanket just up one more level, right through the mid back, right? So if you were down here at the lower part of the rib cage, we're going to come up where you might hit kind of the base of the shoulder blades or just underneath the shoulder blades. Some part of the lower part of your shoulder blades would be fine. Then I'm going to start on my side again, just to minimize like too much pressure, too much intensity. Okay, and then we're just going to go back onto your back, over onto your side. So this is more like a lift for your chest. Your arms are still above the roll of the blanket, and it's coming right into the middle part of the side ribs. If you're good here, take a few more, go 3, 4 more times to each side. And then the next time you come to a side where you want to press yourself up from, let's come up from there and press yourself up to sit. Yay. Okay, and then I'm going to take these two away. And if you have a bolster, just a bolster, right? So if you're just using blankets, you have a couple of options. You could take your two blankets and make, if you have a couple of blankets, you can stack two long folded blankets, one on top of the other, so that you have something that kind of approximates a bolster, right? You can use that instead. You can roll these up together so they're more rounded if that's more comfortable. One will do in a pinch. Yeah. Okay, and we're going to take a recline twist, but we're going to face the bolster. So this is a variation where we're sitting close, like the hip is a little bit close. There's a gap here, just so I like to have a little bit of space for my belly to breathe, a little space for breathing. But then chest and rib cage are here. Hips are kind of facing off one direction, knees and hips one direction. You can do anything you want to do with your legs, but you want to get a nice rotation of the rib cage spine from the lower back. And then your bolster supports your chest and your arms. You want to just let your arms have the floor. Right, and this is also just a supported variation of the same twist that we sometimes do lying on our back. So if you can do that obviously too, if you would just prefer a version where you're on your back. And then let's just be here for a bit, right? Maybe it's a little bit longer than just what feels like we're sampling the pose for a little bit. Let's settle in and then just kind of marinate in the posture for a little bit longer than usual. Let's take another 2 or 3 breaths on this side. If you're just joining, please give yourself some time to settle. Give yourself some time to settle in. You don't have to jump in right where we are, when we are. Just take your time to take time to give your body a chance to settle, find some stillness, some peace and quiet, and then just join us. At your leisure, at your pleasure. Okay, so we'll come up from here. Just use palms, use the press of your palms to come up. We'll turn and go the other way, right? So you just leave your bolster where it is and turn yourself around, or flip your bolster over to the other side of you. Find a nice palms to either side of your support here, and then just give yourself a nice push to the floor. You can really feel the deepening of that rotation through the rib cage, and then again, just come to rest the upper body, rest the rib cage, the chest, breastbone, the head. So let's take another, if you're still here, another 2 or 3 breaths on this second side. And I'm just kind of bringing your palms to a place where you can push and then lift yourself back up off of your support. Okay, and then we can set that aside for the moment. Come to an all fours position, palms under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and just breathe. Move your spine. Inhaling, a little arch in your spine, exhaling and arching up. Press back if you want just that extra sense of extension from your arms down through the shoulders into the back. Alternating tonight, just some long holds with a little bit of movement, slow movement. One more round of your breath like that. Okay, and then let's go from there. Bring yourself all the way down. And then find a comfortable kind of bracing position here for your arms, whatever works for your arm and shoulder situation, chest, upper back, where you can use the floor, the press of your arms into the floor to keep your head and your chest lifted just a bit. So that might be really close, elbows a little bit wider, and then maybe just lifting your head. It feels like, it doesn't feel like maybe as much work or as much, say, arch in your upper back, but you're still activating the upper back, right? To bring your chest and your head a little bit off the floor. You can come down, and then you can use the leverage your arms to push the floor and help lift through your upper back. It doesn't have to be very far away from the floor at all. If you're comfortable, if you've got a lot of mobility, you want to just come kind of up and down a little more like Sphinx pose, a little out in front of you, more a little out in front of you with your elbows. You're just lowering your head, your arms can stay where they are, and then a little bit of flexion, a little traction in the upper back. Just do a couple more. Good. So nothing extreme, just some nice, easeful, functional mobility. So then we'll just come from there into the swastikasana, or the chest shoulder opener, where we take an arm out, flat onto the floor with your palm, look away. So resting on that same side cheek, and then push to turn yourself over and support the head with a little blanket or a cushion. We just want to have your head up a little bit off the floor. Your top leg, the foot of your top leg can just come back and slide back behind you. It doesn't create any tension or feelings of compression in your low back. That's just a nice hip extension for that top hip. And then breathe. Comfortable position in the pose. And breathe. We take 3 more breaths on this side. And then let yourself out of the pose and come back onto your belly. Just take a maybe pause here for a breath. Good. When you're ready, bring your other arm, opposite arm out. Second side. Another breath here. Mm. Mm. Returning to your belly, gently return to your belly, and then just bring your hands forward, rest your forehead on your hands, walk the toes back. Let's keep the hands here, and then just with breath here a few times with your inhalation, just lift your head, look a little bit forward, exhale, and bring your head back to your hands. Good, once more. Okay, and then let's come from here. Bring palms next to chest. Give yourself a little hoist and we'll push up from the floor. And then let's bring your bolster back. Or if you're using a couple of blankets, maybe roll them up together, right? So that they're more round than square. Round and then angled, cornered. So that your bolster comes across your mat. And let's do the side lying over the bolster with the side of the rib cage. Center of the side rib cage on the bolster. Okay, with a block to support your head if you want your head elevated. A block or something high as that keeps your head in line with your midline. Put a block under your head. Or block on your bottom arm. Find your way down. So you want as much as possible your hip is on the floor, and then as much of the shoulder blade that kind of slides up over the top of the roll on the floor. You're using a block, your arm is just out in front of you, and your top arm can just come and rest overhead. And so maybe another 3, 4, 5 breaths on this side. Of course, you can always, this last little piece of the pose, if you want to. So revolve the arm at the shoulder, the top arm, reaching up, dropping back. These circles of the top arm. Right, and you could also, for that matter, use your bolster like we did at the beginning when we were rolling back and forth across the blanket. And let your bolster press into the front and the side and a little more toward the rear of your rib cage. And then we can come up and switch. Come to the other side. Nice, big, supported side stretch. Support for your head, either your arm or a block. Okay, so we'll come through a few more breaths on this side. So same thing here. You can just stay. Hold the pose here, just holding the arm over the head if you want to. So just add that little extra arm movement. And then something back here. Few rolls of the arm or a few just turns of the rib cage, a little bit back, a little bit to the front, a little bit to the back. That feels good for your side ribs. And come up when you're ready to come up. Okay, and then let's take a strap. Please have if you have a strap handy, strap would be beneficial for the variation of this straddle that you'll do on your back. I'm going to try to show it so that you can see the straddle. Let's come onto your back. You don't need any specific support unless you want a blanket behind your head. And then you'll have a strap with a loop or just one kind of the middle of the strap over one foot. And you can take a couple of breaths here and just kind of assess what your hamstrings feel like here today. Not long, not a long supta and to big toe pose. We're going to take the straddle by taking both ends of your strap into the same side hand. A little wrap of the strap around forearm and wrist if you like, just to secure that. And then your free knee comes into your free hand. And then that knee goes wide to the side. And then your extended leg in the strap goes off to its side. And you just, wherever you land is where you land, and you just hold here. Let's take 3 more breaths here and then we'll switch. Good, and then both knees bend, bring both knees back in, and we'll switch. And we'll switch sides, strap to opposite foot. And if you feel for whatever reason you're getting kind of close, you're getting up to 5 breaths and you just feel like that's enough sensation, that's enough pull, that's enough hip opening for you, just depending on the level of intensity that feels right for you, just feel free to come out. Feel free to release the pose and just rest out of the strap with your feet on the floor, your legs long. Take your strap to your other foot. Couple of hamstring extension. Good. And then we'll take both ends of the strap to the same side hand, and then again your free knee into your free hand. That knee falls wide to the side, just under the weight of your hand. You're not really pushing, you're not pulling, you're just letting your weight fall where it falls. You know, you can give your strapped foot a little more or less push, tension in the strap, tension of your foot to the strap. Again, just let the weight of your limbs, just let everything just kind of lie where it lies, fall where it falls. If you start pushing and pulling and trying to get a little deeper or wider, you might find like your back muscles kind of tensing up. So release tension in your back and just take a few more breaths, 2 or 3 more breaths here. And we'll let both knees bend and drop both knees back into center. Then you can take your strap away and then just let your knees come to your chest. Your knees fall towards you. Okay, and then let's set up a pose where you could just rest, find a final relaxation pose. Okay, so typically just be whatever wherever you're comfortable, whatever you're comfortable with here. For the last 5 to 7 minutes, let it be something right where you're not, there's not too much pressure or intensity in the sensation that you can't fully relax. All right, we want this to be a little chef's kiss of your practice, so it should be comfortable. I even feel like a little bit chilly, so I'm gonna just unfold a blanket, have one under my head, put my bolster under my knees, and unfold a blanket over my arms. My arms are covered. You can take whatever props you have to just make this a brief experience of total, complete rest. Whatever you need, it could be minimal, it could be all the stuff you have. Take your time making it right for you. And we'll just take these last 5 or 6 minutes, quiet, restful. Let mind rest, let attention rest in this last just few minutes of quiet, inner silence. Let's begin to just make the last 3 or 4 breaths a little longer, a little deeper. If you feel like moving, you can move, stretch, little subtle movements. And then just when you're ready, just take your time, but go ahead and bring yourself from your back onto a side. And then take your time coming from your side up into a comfortable seat. Please take a moment before you move off into the rest of your evening to close your practice. Just honor your time here, your commitment to making time for your body, for your breath, for your mind and your spirit, and follow the effects of your practice into the rest of your